So hi, everyone. My name is Hannah. Thank you for joining me as I present some of my practicum project, a participatory rapid review of how whiteness shapes the nursing profession. And this is work that I did with the National Collaborating Center for Determinants of Health. It was teamwork, and I'll talk more about that as we go along. And my supervisor was Dr. Claire Betker. So I'm presenting to you from Mohkinstsis, the Blackfoot name for what is presently called Calgary, within Treaty 7 territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai nations, Tsuut'ina and Stoney Nakoda nations, and home to Métis Nation Region 3. I recognize my privileged position as an able-bodied, straight, cisgendered, white woman and a registered nurse. My practicum host organization, the National Collaborating Center for Determinants of Health, or NCCDH for short, was established in 2005, along with 5 other national collaborating centers for public health, and they all named to promote the use of evidence within public health. The NCCDH is hosted by St. Francis Xavier University in Antigonish, Nova Scotia, which is Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. The NCCDH aims to equip public health practitioners, professionals, and policymakers to take equity-focused action on the social and structural determinants of health. So I highlight the role of knowledge translation specialists, or KTS for short, as this is a job well suited for Master of Public Health graduates, which many of you are. And I've recently started as a KTS with the NCCDH. KTS staff strategically collaborate to design and manage projects, develop educational products, deliver events, foster and steward networks, and employ other knowledge exchange mechanisms. The KTS role at the NCCDH requires a commitment to social justice, reconciliation, anti-racism, and anti-oppressive practices. So our rapid review drew heavily on 2 NCCDH publications from the excellent Let's Talk resource series. Let's Talk Racism and Health Equity emphasizes settler colonialism and structural racism as root causes of health and social inequities. Race is a social construct without biological basis. However, the impacts of racism are very real. Directly and indirectly, racism harms health and causes premature death. An intersectional approach, which is based in Black feminist theories, draws connections between power structures. Systems of oppression support and reinforce one another. For example, white supremacy is rooted in settler colonialism, slavery, and capitalism. Uprooting oppressive systems requires a multitude of tactics, including fostering strategic partnerships. So this project was co-led by myself and another MPH student from Waterloo University, supported by NCCDH staff in partnership with the Canadian Nurses Association. Our research question was, how does whiteness shape the Canadian nursing profession? So we defined our population, the nursing profession, through much consultation. And by nursing profession, we refer to workforce and education and research, excluding the domain of clinical care. And what do we mean by whiteness? Whiteness refers to the practices, policies, and perspectives that create and enable the dominance of white people, norms, and culture in institutions, systems, and society. Naming whiteness helps make whiteness visible and challenges the ways white is often framed as neutral. This definition comes from the Let's Talk Whiteness and Health Equity. The profession of nursing has a history entrenched in colonialism and white supremacy, and it's important for the profession to critically self-examine. Naming whiteness is a first step to disrupting it, which is core to addressing systemic racism. So we developed our methods using the Rapid Review Guidebook from the National Collaborating Center for Methods and Tools. Rapid reviews differ from systematic reviews in that the process is tailored for a much shorter timeline, but it's still important to use rigorous methodology. Our purpose was to develop our own skills in literature review, which is a key knowledge translation tool, build capacity to see and name whiteness, and strengthen the partnership between the NCCDH and the Canadian Nursing Association, both national organizations committed to anti-racism. Our Prisma chart details our search of 2 databases and grey literature, which was supported by a librarian. We included empirical literature published in Canada in English in the past 5 years, which considered whiteness or racism at an institutional or structural level. 8 sources met our inclusion criteria. 8 themes emerged from the literature: policy, research and education, leadership, mentoring, worldview, acknowledgement, funding, diversity, equity, inclusion committees. The elements within the themes overlap and influence one another. Throughout the literature, we heard how whiteness is upheld by not supporting anti-racist or anti-oppressive environments. For example, by not ensuring diverse research and authorship within nursing education, this perpetuates whiteness. As well, unaccountability and lack of acknowledgement of whiteness only furthers its progression. Whiteness is entrenched in the Canadian worldview and leaches into the nursing profession. Change within a professional culture is mutually dependent on wider cultural change. So from the literature, there are 6 recommendations proposed. Acknowledgement needs to occur. This involves recognition, accountability, and apology of the colonial underpinnings that are present at every level within nursing. The first step in beginning this healing work is to name and acknowledge whiteness. Anti-racist and anti-oppressive policies need to be created and implemented at all levels. Academic diversification of both faculty and students is needed, with emphasis on identifying, recruiting, and encouraging diverse enrollment. Regular auditing of nursing curricula and syllabi within academia and for professional development is needed to ensure accuracy and appropriateness, and should be supported by diverse committees. Equitable hiring processes that are transparent and anti-racist need to occur, as does ensuring Black, Indigenous, and people of color are supported in senior leadership positions. And lastly, building capacity for this leadership and mentorship. To learn more, I encourage you to check out the Let's Talk series on the NCCDH website and read the Black Nurses Task Force report titled Acknowledging, Addressing, and Tackling Anti-Black Racism and Discrimination Within the Nursing Profession, published by the Registered Nurses Association, as well as the In Plain Sight report. These were key documents cited in our findings. So our work fits into the strategic priorities of the NCCDH, which includes building organizational leadership capacity, supporting a culture of equity, and intersectoral collaboration. Also, our work integrated the Ottawa Charter principles of strengthening community action, reorienting health services, and promoting health through collaboration. Intersectoral partnerships are required to address systemic racism and other wicked and deeply rooted problems in public health. So thank you. I'm so deeply grateful to my team for the mentorship that I received from the NCCDH, to Dr. Claire Betker, to Mandy and Carolina and Danielle and the rest of the team. It's really been an incredible experience with the NCCDH. I'm also deeply thankful to the UVic for my education, and thank you, Jeff. So yeah, to learn more, consider registering. Mandy and I are going to be presenting at the National Community Health Nurses of Canada Conference, June 8th to 10th, where yeah, you can learn more. And also, I saw Matsuko posted about the CPHA conference, and we're not presenting there, but many of our team are. So Also, you can follow NCCDH on Twitter or subscribe to their newsletter on their website.